I mean, the thing about this meal is it doesn't look like fast food, which it is. It looks like you've been slaving away over a hot stove for hours and hours. Do what I say, and I promise you this will be one of the best 30-minute meals you've ever had. So I've got the most beautiful fillet of beef rolled in herbs and then sliced onto a little platter of horseradish and mustard. Absolutely delicious. I'm serving that with an incredible Cheats roast potato. Veg-wise, we've got some glazed carrots, bit of bay, bit of thyme, classic and beautiful. Some lovely lemon-dressed watercress salad. And you'd never believe that you could do Yorkshire puddings in half an hour, but you can, from scratch. And to go with it, I've got a beautiful red onion and mushroom gravy. And all in under 30 minutes. OK, then, if you want to have that incredible meal, that meal of all meals, the epic full Monty roast beef with all the trimmings, you can have it. And you've got to listen to what I say, do what I do, get your 30-minute meals hat on, your head on, get all your kitchen ready, clean down, get the wet cloth under the board, get your food processor ready, get your oven onto about 220 degrees. I need my pan. I need a pan for my potatoes here. I need a pan for my carrots. And I need a pan here for the beef. We have no time to waste. We've got no time to wait for things to get hot. Let's get it on now. OK, first things first, we're going to do Cheats roast potatoes, and they're really, really good. I've got some lovely red-skinned potatoes here. Of course, you could use, you know, classic Maris Piper or something like that. You want about 500-600 grams of potatoes. I'm going to give them a quick little wash, because we're in 30-minute meals world here. Here's the thing, you know, a classic roast potato is about sort of an inch or bigger, squash ball size. And that's going to take some time to cook. So what I'm going to do is cut them into 2-centimetre sort of chunks. And just get these into a pan, get the pan on full whack, and I'm going to cover that with some boiling water. Now, look, you might be thinking, why are you trying to do a roast dinner in half an hour? Well, I'll tell you what, who said, number one, that roast dinner has to be for the weekend, although it's completely traditional? And secondly, like, my missus has basically been pregnant, give or take, for the last 7 years, and she loves a roast dinner, and when I come home late from work, sort of 7 o'clock-ish, and she's going, I fancy a roast dinner, I have to sort of think, as a chef, how can I deliver that? So the great thing about this recipe is whether it's pork fillet, chicken breast, or I'm using a fillet of beef, we can create, like, a mock brilliant roast dinner. OK, potatoes are on. Let's do the beef. Now, to do the beef, we're going to do a fillet of beef, you know, rolled in beautiful thyme, sage, rosemary, and we're going to pan-sear it all the way through. So we've got the fillet of beef here, but what I want to do is chop up and roll it in a load of beautiful herbs. So I've got some nice purple sage here, nice bit of rosemary, and then I've got some thyme here as well. So, just grab it like that and put it in the boiling water for 5 seconds, right? That wakes up, that melts and sort of makes loose all those natural oils, OK? And you're going to get more flavour out of it. So I'm going to pick through these herbs for literally 5 seconds. The rosemary comes off the stalk. We've got the sage there. The thymes, just pull off the tips there. And then just finely chop this up. And then what I'm going to do is something called, like, I don't know, seasoning the board is what I call it. And it's what it means is you can just move this herbs about here like this. You season the board also with those lovely, you know, sea salt. And, of course, you know, beef, steak loves pepper. And then what I'm going to do is, here's my fillet. Drizzle that with some olive oil and just give it a little pat. And then literally drop it on here and then just roll it. And it'll just stick everything to it. But, you know, the job of this is to make that beautiful prime cut of meat taste like heaven. And you want to almost clean the board. Once you've got that, pat your fillet steak out like that and cut right through the middle. And immediately, what you've done is half the cooking time. It might seem extreme, but I promise you when I carve this up and put it on a platter with everything else, you'll never notice, and it definitely won't compromise flavour. So, this steak goes in to a pan on a high heat. Just a little bit more olive oil. So I'm going to use tongs here just to sort of turn these about. So what you have to understand is this is very different from roast beef. You know, I've got lots of recipes for roast beef and roast chicken and they take hours. This is 30-minute meals roast beef and it absolutely fills the spot and it's delicious. Okay, so potatoes half cooked, beef already cooking. The next thing I'm going to do is beautiful glazed carrots with thyme. Some pretty standard carrots here, just bought from the supermarket. They're Chantenay carrots. What I like to do is just give them a good wash under the sink, like this. And then what I want to do is I've got my pan on here. This pan is on full whack. We go in with a pack of carrots. And what I want to do is create a flavour there that is brilliant and unique. So, of course, we're seasoning with sea salt. Sort of a small handful of thyme, right? And just drop it in, sort of long sprigs of it. A little bit of olive oil or a little knob of butter in here. And sugar. Just 2 teaspoons of sugar. We're going to create what, you know, the French would call a kind of glazed carrot. It's going to give it a shine. The sweetness will work beautifully with the carrots. Just 2 or 3 leaves of bay leaves. You know, using these herbs, the salt, the sugar, it's just kind of guaranteeing you a beautiful, beautiful veg. Let's just check these potatoes here at the moment. Yeah, actually, look, see this? I know the potatoes are done when I can just see it, it's beginning to crush, right? That's a good sign. So, keeping my eyes peeled, what I'm going to do is take this pan off, put the Yorkie pan on sort of low heat, drain these potatoes here. I'm just going to let it sit there and steam. Letting them steam like this is really, really important. It sort of evaporates the water. It's going to give you that fluffy inside and crispy outside.
So, I'm about 8 minutes in and already the carrots are boiling away, the potatoes are steaming and the beef is searing in the pan. Now I'm going to show you how to make the simplest, loveliest mini Yorkshire puddings. Dead simple, dead quick, dead delicious.
I'm going to get some regular plain flour. This is a classic recipe. The biggest raving idiot in the world can do this, right? Get yourself a kind of level cup. That goes in to your liquidizer. Now, in the same cup, you want to fill that up with just regular milk, right up to the top. And while you're here, grab yourself a nice pinch of salt to go in there. Take this over and pour that in your liquidizer. And 1 egg. That's it. Lid on top. Turn it on. At this point in time, while this is whizzing up, that's getting hot, I'm going to put some olive oil or some sunflower oil in this pan. Do it roughly. Don't try and be like good or well behaved. Turn this off. We're ready to rock and roll. That quantity, 1 cup, 1 egg, works every time. And then fill up these little Yorkshire moulds. Don't be perfect, you know, just run it around If it bleeds over the side, don't worry about it. I've got pancake mix for tomorrow, right? And I've got these Yorkshires done. Carefully take them to your oven and whack them in. The oven's at about 220. We'll keep an eye on these. The real thing to do is not open the oven until you can see through that window and they're looking damn good and perfectly coloured. Let's go back to the potatoes. So if you look at these potatoes now, they look almost a little bit overcooked. Olive oil goes back into the pan, potatoes in. I'm going to try and make a point of sort of laying all this out flat so we can get some good colour happening. Just click the whole bulb of garlic into this pan, like that. Get a peeler and just peel a little lemon zest in. If you want to at this point as well, what's quite nice is just a little knob of butter in and around the potatoes. And that's going to give it that slight sweetness and beautiful golden colour. So in truth, these potatoes aren't roasted potatoes because they're not going in the oven, but they're a kind of sautéed potatoes and they're going to be just as lovely and they're going to hit the spot.
Everything's looking gorgeous. The potatoes are getting golden in the pan, beef is sizzling away nicely, and the carrots are boiling. The Yorkshire puddings are on the rise, but I've still got to prepare my watercress salad and make my super quick gravy for the beef. I'm cooking a fantastic full Monty roast beef dinner with all the trimmings, all of that in under 30 minutes. We're just over halfway now and already the potatoes are crisping up in the pan, the carrots are bubbling away, my Yorkshire puddings are in the oven. But before I do anything else, it's time to check my beef.
So at this point in time, I'm feeling that this beef is in a good place. I'm just sort of feeling it now. That's about medium rare now. Kind of got to feel it and use your common sense. If in doubt, cut in there and have a look. OK, so I'm going to get a plate. I'm going to take my fillet of beef off. And I'm going to cover that with just a little bit of tin foil. Put your tin foil on top and then put a tea towel on top of that, right? So that's just going to sit there doing nothing, so it's one less thing to think about. Let's go back to the potatoes. Let's turn these over again. Look at that colour. We've achieved that colour quite quickly. So I know I've got gravy to make, so I want to turn that down to quite low now. At this point in time, I'll add my rosemary. So just going to tear that in.
Now let's quickly get the watercress salad together.
What I'm going to do here is just a little olive oil, a couple of tablespoons into a bowl here. I'm going to add a tiny pinch of salt, a little lemon, just not even half a lemon. Just squeeze it in there like that. And just sit my watercress on top, and I won't dress it until the last minute at the table pretty much. So I've got my watercress salad, nice and lemony, at the table. OK, so what am I doing next? Gravy. So I'm going to make a really brilliant red onion and mushroom gravy. Of course, if you don't like mushrooms, you can omit them, but I think this works a treat with this recipe. I've got a slicer attachment here on a food processor. Put your onions in, and I just need about 10 or 12 or a little tiny handful of button mushrooms going in here, and it will just slice them up in seconds for you. So I've got my pan on here. We do have gnarly, sticky, golden bits of sort of like the fat from the meat and all that flavour. Absolutely don't throw that away. I've got my onions and my mushrooms here, straight in there. Let's make a quick gravy. So we're going to sweat this off now. The first thing those onions and mushrooms are going to get is all that lovely flavour from cooking the beef fillet. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of flour heaped onto these onions. Right? The flour's going to act as that classic sort of thickener. Right? Choose any nice red wine that you like. Add about a red wine glass in there. I want to cook it away. This is going to give the gravy a bit of structure, a bit of colour. Mix it up, and then forget about it until I can hear that sss again, and that means it's cooked away.
Everything's ticking away nicely. With 20 minutes gone, the salad is on the table. The potatoes are looking nice, the carrots are coming up a treat, the Yorkies are looking gorgeous. Wow.
What I want to do now is prepare for my meat, OK? I've got creamed horseradish out of a jar. I use it at home, I'm sure most people do. Let's say 4 or so teaspoons of horseradish, right? Smear that around the plate. Think of that as a bed to put your meat, right? Then I'm going to go for some English mustard, just to super pimp it. You're going to dig this or you won't. I put that in the middle, use the back of my teaspoon just to smear that hot old mustard in there like this. And what I quite like about this is it's kind of that naughty but nice sort of attitude. So we got the platter ready. Then I got my beef here. Now have a look at this. In here, it would have rested, right? And you'll have that juice that naturally comes out of it, right? I'm going to take the meat out. Now, never throw this away. This is kind of gold. This absolutely will go straight into my gravy. And don't miss any bits either. That's going to be, you know, that depth of flavour that you want to try and achieve so quickly. At the same time, that wine has cooked away now, very quickly, actually. So another cheat is, you know, either use your own stock or you can buy these punnets of pre-made chicken stock. Look, if you're busy and it's in a week, do I use it? Yes, I do. You know, do I do it properly as well? Yes, I do. You know, I think modern day life, even as a kind of lover of food, is a kind of mix of kind of clever convenience that doesn't compromise, and at the weekend, certainly for me, you know, kind of pushing the boat out. You know, the nice thing about this gravy is as you add the wine, as you add the juices, as you add the stock, the room fills up with that classic roast dinner smell. I mean, it's smelling pretty epic by now. So trust in the fact that that will look beautiful in a second. So we've got the fillet of beef here, rested. OK, what I want to do here is slice this meat about 1 centimetre thick at an angle, OK? So we're just going to slice this through. See, it's blushing like that. My wife will be over the moon. So literally put that on the platter. Start piling it up on top of each other. Nice, like that. To finish this lovely beef off, I like to just get some salt and sprinkle it from a tiny bit from a height on those kind of exposed cut pieces of the beef, and then just a little drizzle of oil. And what that does is it just stops it going too dry, OK? But look at that. Absolutely beautiful. You know, if you want to nick a little bit of herbs that you've got hanging around just to sort of pick on top, you know, it is gorgeous, right? So we've got wonderful fillet of beef on the horseradish and mustard. We've got the salad here. The potatoes are on the edge where it's kind of just almost too colourful. So what I'll do, give them one last turn, and then they'll go straight onto here. Chef's treat. Just go for one here. They're so, so good. It's crispy on the outside, also it's fluffy in the middle. Absolutely beautiful. You know, my carrots here, all I have to do is literally drain these. Just have a look at these. Because I put a tiny bit of olive oil in there and, you know, those herbs, they've already, all they need is a tiny bit of oil and a little pinch of salt and a tiny squeeze of lemon juice. And that is a beautiful carrot dish there. Just gonna whack these in here, nice and rustic. Look at that, for God's sake, come on. Half an hour. Beautiful. It's done. Gravy boat. You can warm it up with a bit of hot water. If I'm having a good day today, I should be able to get this gravy out without spilling it. I'm having a good day. Look at that, right up to the top. Mushroom and sweet red onion gravy. Carrots, potatoes. I'm sure I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten? Yorkshire pudding, nearly forgot. All I've got to do is bang these little bad boys. Like this. Where you've kind of been a bit kind of like lazy and you kind of went round the edges, you just click them off, who cares? And they're crispy, and people like them anyway. So get your Yorkies, stack them up. And what I love to do is just whack that on the table with, just have a look at this, with the gravy next to it. And there you go. We've got lovely lemon and olive oil dressed watercress, glazed carrots, blushing, beautiful fillet of beef, crispy herb potatoes, Yorkshire puddings and gravy in under half an hour. This is the ultimate. And you think you couldn't do it? You can do it. You'll be so proud of yourself.